So I got a question on Instagram. I did a Q&A a couple weeks ago about motivation, how to stay motivated for BJJ. So motivation is kind of an interesting thing, and I think there is a place for motivation in the short term, and usually that's at the beginning. And I would say motivation can be used to like give you a spark in training, right? So like when you first start jiu-jitsu, you're very motivated. You're doing something new, fresh. It's interesting. It's exciting. You're learning techniques. You're getting submissions. So it's really, really fun. Really, really kind of like motivating to show up because you can see, you're learning and you're progressing. But once that newness fades, then the motivation can kind of, ebb and flow, right? So motivation is good for a spark, like I mentioned, but it's not necessarily the thing that's going to keep you going in jiu-jitsu. It's not necessarily there all the time. And so I don't really look to motivation as my reason to do jiu-jitsu or as it's a kind of a catalyst, but it's not why I do jiu-jitsu. And I think the main issue or the main focus is figuring out, once that motivation fades, figuring out your why. What's your reason for training? Your why can be very different than mine or somebody else's. Initially, my reason for training was just a curiosity of jiu-jitsu, something that was really outside of my comfort zone, not something I ever really did. I played a lot of team sports growing up, so this was something that was very, very new, very different. I was a big fan of like watching MMA, so I was always intrigued by jiu-jitsu. After training for a while, and I've been training closer to 14 years now, I've realized that like my why has evolved and changed, and it's very different now. Number one is like I really enjoy the people I train with. I really love being around them, spending time with them, having conversations. I love the tough training. I think that getting a really tough workout, pushing myself, making myself do things that are uncomfortable have been really beneficial for me. And I think it's a huge part of why I continue to train. But also I've kind of developed a habit. It's kind of just a part of what I do. So I think that my why is really the community, just the tough training. I really love, continue to progress and get better at jiu-jitsu. I think it's so challenging, and your why may be different, like I said. However, you have to develop that why because the motivation is gonna ebb and flow. However, doing jiu-jitsu long enough, you develop a habit. Jiu-jitsu is just something you do on certain days of the week. And developing that habit, kind of allowing that motivation to transition to your why. Why do you do jiu-jitsu? And then it becomes a habit. It's just part of your routine, part of your weekly routine or your daily routine. It's just something that you do. So find your why, find your reason, find what you love about jiu-jitsu, what you enjoy, and make that the reason that you continue to train. Because motivation is not going to be there all the time. And even though some days I'm not terribly motivated, I'm still at the gym training. And I usually know that after a tough training, I'm always happier that I went to the gym as opposed to not going to the gym. I know I've benefited myself and I've got something positive out of training jiu-jitsu, even if it's a tough day on the mats, which sometimes it is. So create a habit, find your why for doing jiu-jitsu. Don't be so concerned about the motivational portion of it, because that motivation is a good spark, but it's not going to be there all the time. So guys, hope this video was helpful. If you like it, do a thumbs up or send me a comment down there in the comment section, and I appreciate you, and I'll talk to you guys next time.